They shot him 10 times. An ICU nurse, a United States citizen, holding his phone, recording federal agents. And this morning, the commander responsible for that killing was just demoted and removed from Minneapolis. Hit subscribe because what happened in Minnesota over the last 3 weeks just forced Donald Trump to do something he almost never does: back down. 2 American citizens, 3 weeks, both killed by federal agents. Both times, video evidence contradicted the official story. And today, Trump's immigration crackdown is collapsing under the weight of what it created. This is the story of how Operation Metro Surge became Operation Disaster, how a Republican gubernatorial candidate quit his own party over it yesterday, how the face of Trump's deportation machine got demoted this morning, and how 2 deaths in Minneapolis may have just broken the entire immigration enforcement strategy. Saturday morning, January 24th, 9:05 a.m. Alex Pretti, 37 years old, ICU nurse at the Minneapolis Veterans Affairs Hospital, steps onto Nicollet Avenue. He's holding his phone. He's recording federal agents who are trying to enter a restaurant. He's been to protests before. After the first killing, 3 weeks ago, his parents warned him to be careful. He told them he would be. 3 minutes of video, multiple angles, verified by Reuters, BBC, Wall Street Journal, Associated Press, ABC News, all telling the same story. Pretti stands on the sidewalk, phone raised. Recording. Federal agents approach. One agent pushes a woman wearing an orange backpack. She falls. Pretti steps between the agent and the woman on the ground, puts his arm around her. Then an agent pepper sprays him directly in the face. Pretti covers his face, turns away. 6 federal agents surround him, wrestle him to the ground. One agent is seen punching him in the head while he's already down. Another agent reaches into Pretti's jacket, removes a gun, walks away with it. 1 second later, another agent fires. 10 shots in less than 5 seconds. Alex Pretti is dead. Now here's what the Department of Homeland Security said happened. Secretary Kristi Noem held a press conference that same day. She claimed Pretti approached officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. She said he attacked them. She said he arrived at the scene to inflict maximum damage on individuals and to kill law enforcement. Border Patrol Commander Greg Bovino went further. He said Pretti may have wanted to massacre law enforcement. He called it defensive shooting. He praised the agents. He said the use of force was exemplary. But the videos show something completely different. Pretti never drew his weapon. He was holding his phone. The agents pepper sprayed him first. They took his gun from him. Then they shot him. Multiple policing experts who reviewed the footage told NBC News the shooting was either unjustified or that further information was needed to reach a conclusion. None of them said it was clearly justified. Alex Pretti was a lawful gun owner. He had a Minnesota permit to carry. He had no criminal record. Chief Brian O'Hara of the Minneapolis Police Department confirmed all of this. Pretti wasn't a threat. He was a nurse, a federal employee himself, a union member, a citizen exercising his First Amendment right to record police activity. And he's dead because federal agents killed him. But here's what makes this even worse. This wasn't the first killing. 17 days earlier, January 7th, another federal agent shot and killed Renee Good, also 37 years old, also a United States citizen, also contradicted by video evidence. Trump claimed Good viciously ran over an ICE officer with her car, but videos from the scene showed that wasn't true. Good was a mother of 3. She was trying to leave a parking lot. Federal agents surrounded her vehicle, and they shot her. 2 American citizens, 3 weeks apart, both killings justified by federal officials with claims that video evidence contradicted, both in Minneapolis. Both during Operation Metro Surge, Trump's massive immigration crackdown that deployed over 3,000 federal agents to Minnesota. The backlash was immediate and devastating. Thousands of protesters flooded the streets of Minneapolis. Businesses in the area reported revenue down 50 to 80%. Downtown became a protest zone. The mayor called it a crisis. The governor demanded answers. And then yesterday, something unprecedented happened. Chris Mattel, Republican candidate for Minnesota governor, dropped out of the race. Not because of scandal, not because of fundraising, because of what he witnessed with Operation Metro Surge. Mattel called it an unmitigated disaster. He said, "I cannot support National Republicans' retribution on citizens." He witnessed racial profiling. He called the ICE raids unconstitutional. And here's the twist that makes this story even more insane. Chris Mattel was the lawyer defending the ICE agent who killed Renee Good. Think about that. The man hired to defend federal agents in the first killing was so horrified by what he saw that he quit his gubernatorial campaign and condemned the entire operation. When your own defense attorney walks away saying this is wrong, you've lost the moral argument. But the pressure kept building. Major Minnesota CEOs, including the heads of United Health and Target, issued statements calling for immediate de-escalation. The New York Post editorial board, usually pro-Trump, condemned the tactics. The Wall Street Journal raised questions. Even Republican Senator Bill Cassidy criticized the operation. Minnesota filed a lawsuit seeking a restraining order. A federal judge is considering whether to halt Operation Metro Surge entirely. Minneapolis sued for violations of the 10th Amendment, arguing federal agents were acting beyond their constitutional authority. Governor Tim Walz and Mayor Jacob Frey became targets of federal investigation themselves for their criticism of the operation. And Greg Bovino, the face of Trump's deportation machine, the man who claimed Pretti wanted to massacre law enforcement, kept doubling down. He blamed Democrats. He blamed journalists. He dodged questions about whether his agency bore any responsibility. He praised his agent's restraint. But behind the scenes, something was breaking. Trump spoke with Governor Walz yesterday. He spoke with Mayor Frey. Both conversations were described as surprisingly positive. Frey said Trump agreed that the present situation cannot continue. The president said he's reviewing everything about the Pretti shooting. And this morning, the news broke. Greg Bovino has been demoted. He's being removed from Minneapolis as soon as Tuesday. He's returning to his old post in California. Multiple sources confirmed it to Fox, CBS, CNN, ABC. The demotion is effective immediately. Some reports say he might retire soon. His social media access has been cut off. The White House initially tried to defend him. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt called him a wonderful man and a great professional just hours before his removal was reported. Then the White House started distancing itself from the provocative claims by Noem and Bovino about the Pretti shooting. The tone shift was dramatic. Trump is sending Tom Homan, his border czar, to Minnesota, not to escalate, to de-escalate, to manage the fallout, to find a way out of this disaster. Mayor Frey said if Homan is here to engage constructively and find common ground, my door is open. But if his visit is focused on escalating tensions, Minneapolis doesn't need that here. This is what retreat looks like. Trump launched Operation Metro Surge with 3,000 federal agents to make a statement about immigration enforcement. He wanted to show strength. He wanted to demonstrate that sanctuary cities would face consequences. He wanted images of mass deportations to dominate the news cycle. Instead, he got 2 dead American citizens. Video evidence contradicting his officials, a Republican candidate quitting over it, major corporations demanding de-escalation, his own commander demoted, thousands in the streets, a city in chaos, and a federal judge considering shutting down the entire operation. This isn't what winning looks like. This is what happens when aggressive tactics meet determined resistance, when official narratives collapse under video evidence, when even allies can't defend what they're seeing. Let's be clear about what Greg Bovino represents. He's been the face of Trump's immigration crackdown in multiple cities: Los Angeles, Chicago, Minneapolis. Wherever he went, controversy followed. In Chicago, he was personally involved in using tear gas on residential streets, near schools, against civilians. A federal judge in Chicago issued a preliminary injunction against his tactics. She said they shock the conscience. She noted that Bovino admitted he lied about circumstances that led to one use of tear gas. She ordered him to appear in court every evening at 6 p.m. to brief her about his agent's actions. That's how bad it got in Chicago. A federal judge required daily supervision. Then Bovino moved to Minneapolis, and within weeks, 2 Americans were dead. The tensions inside DHS have been building for months. ICE leaders privately complained that Border Patrol under Bovino had become too aggressive, too controversial. They argued the focus should be on arresting people with serious criminal records, not undertaking indiscriminate sweeps in Home Depot parking lots or confronting protesters on city streets. But Bovino kept defending the tactics. He called them exemplary, the least amount of force necessary, he said, even as videos showed agents firing pepper spray at crowds. Even as body camera footage contradicted official statements. Even as the death toll mounted. Now he's gone. Demoted. Removed. His social media silenced. His command ended. The operation he led is being reconsidered. And Trump is trying to find a way to back down without admitting he backed down. Here's what this reveals about Trump's entire approach to immigration enforcement. The strategy was always about optics, about showing strength, about demonstrating dominance. Deploy massive numbers of federal agents, make arrests in highly visible locations, flood social media with images of enforcement actions, create the impression of unstoppable momentum. But that strategy has a fatal weakness. It requires cooperation or at least acquiescence from local communities. When protesters fill the streets, when businesses lose revenue, when video evidence contradicts official claims, when even Republicans start walking away, the optics flip. Suddenly you're not showing strength, you're showing excess, overreach, failure. And Trump can't afford that perception. Not with the 2026 midterms approaching. Not with his approval ratings already underwater in key swing states. Not when Minnesota, a state he's trying to flip, is now a disaster zone of his own making. So what happens next? Tom Homan arrives in Minnesota tomorrow to manage the fallout. Will he de-escalate? Will he pull back the 3,000 federal agents? Will he acknowledge that the operation went too far? Or will he try to salvage it somehow, find a middle ground that allows Trump to claim victory while backing away from the tactics that caused this mess? The federal judge in Minnesota is still considering whether to halt Operation Metro Surge entirely. If that injunction is granted, Trump faces a choice: comply and accept a judicial check on his authority, or defy it and trigger a constitutional crisis. Neither option is good. The lawsuits will continue. The investigations will continue. The families of Alex Pretti and Renee Good will demand accountability. The videos won't go away. The national attention won't fade immediately. This story has momentum now. And here's what makes this particularly dangerous for Trump. This isn't about immigration policy in the abstract. This is about 2 dead American citizens, 2 families destroyed. Video evidence that anyone can watch, a nurse and a mother, both killed by federal agents who claimed things that video proved false. You can't spin that away. You can't claim it's fake news when Reuters, BBC, Wall Street Journal, and Associated Press all verified the footage. You can't dismiss the critics when they include Republican gubernatorial candidates and conservative editorial boards. This is the kind of story that cuts through partisan divides. Parents in suburban swing districts watching video of a nurse being shot 10 times after being pepper sprayed. Business owners watching their downtown areas shut down by protests. Republican voters watching their own party's candidates quit over it. Trump built his first campaign on law and order. He promised to restore safety. But Operation Metro Surge made Minneapolis less safe, not more. It turned a functioning city into a protest zone. It killed 2 Americans. It required the demotion of a commander and the deployment of a crisis manager. That's not law and order. That's chaos. And voters remember chaos. They remember images. They remember stories. Alex Pretti holding his phone. 6 agents surrounding him. 10 shots in 5 seconds. A nurse dead on a Saturday morning in January. That image doesn't go away. That story doesn't fade. And Trump can't make it disappear by demoting Bovino or sending Homan to manage the fallout. This is the problem with governing through dominance displays. When they work, you look strong. When they fail, you look weak and cruel. Operation Metro Surge failed. The demotion of Greg Bovino this morning is Trump's admission of that failure, even if he'll never say it explicitly. 2 American citizens are dead. A Republican candidate quit his own party. A federal commander was demoted. Thousands protested. Businesses lost revenue. A city descended into crisis. And Trump had to back down. That's not what winning looks like. That's what defeat looks like when you're too stubborn to admit it. Make sure you're subscribed because this story isn't over. Tom Homan arrives tomorrow. The federal judge's decision is pending. The investigations continue. The lawsuits proceed. And the political consequences for Trump are just beginning to materialize. Share this with anyone who needs to understand what really happened in Minneapolis. Leave a comment with your take. Was this operation doomed from the start? Could Trump have handled it differently? Or was the outcome inevitable once video contradicted the official story? The families of Alex Pretti and Renee Good deserve answers. The city of Minneapolis deserves accountability. And American voters deserve to know that this is what happens when aggressive tactics meet determined resistance and video evidence. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.